Hello and welcome to Azure Centric. With me today, I have the wonderful Ryan McKay. Welcome. How are you today?
I'm doing great, Andrew. How's going with you today?
Absolutely amazing. It's a beautiful sunny day outside, I think. And we're here today to chat about something really topical. We've both been refreshing our knowledge, kind of, I want to say as always, but more consistently lately. And I don't mind admitting you've pulled ahead. We just can't have that, so I'm going to have to get myself in gear a little bit. But you have pulled ahead and you've done this exam recently, the SC-300, and we thought, hey, you know what? Let's chat first of all about your experience. We've had these chats before as we've written exams and kind of talk about, hey, you know, how things changed through the pandemic, writing only at home, and
Hmm.
now we have kind of a mix. You can go write somewhere else, but the process to write an exam at your kitchen table is now really, really dialed in. The proctoring just works
Hmm.
and the process is really well thought out and well refined, right?
Absolutely. And in this particular case, the course material is just awesome, awesome course. So I look forward to
It
discussing it further
is
with you.
awesome. All right, well, let's get started, shall we? Let's roll. Awesome. So I thought let's kind of dive right into it. So we're here. We're talking about Microsoft exams, Microsoft certification exams,
Hmm.
SC-300, Microsoft Identity and Access Administrator. So one of the things, and I'll maybe make this a little bigger for everybody, is um, it's really easy to just jump to docs.microsoft.com and do a quick search on the exam that you want, or explore the certification paths and choose the right exam for the end road results that you want for your technical career. So there's a lot of options out there, and one of the cool things is not the pricing. Let's just say that there's lots of ways to help with that, and we'll kind of jump back to that. But we can really easily see the different skills that are measured with every exam. They break it down. And one of the things that I think is just amazing is right here, kind of towards the bottom, we we always see a link for the learning path on Microsoft Learn, the
Absolutely.
free Microsoft put together sponsored learning. If you pay for it, you're on the wrong site. There's lots of great paid sites out there, that said, but this one is free. It's from Microsoft, and they want us to learn this information. So
Absolutely.
let's talk a little bit about maybe a timely event coming up in the next week or so, but also there's always ways to do exams for, at the very least, reduced pricing
Hmm.
or many times free.
Yeah, absolutely. And the event we're speaking of is Ignite. We'll give it the shameless plug, but I believe in the spring Ignite was when they actually announced these new SC exam courses that Microsoft has released the material for. They were
That's right.
rather new and in beta up until sometime in the summer.
Yeah.
They've come out of beta, and what they've done is they've basically taken all things Microsoft Cloud Security and wrap them into four separate courses. You've of course got your foundational course, the SC-900, and then there's three sort of specialist courses with the Microsoft Identity and Access Administrator, SC-300 being the one that we're speaking about today. There's also one on some data classification and data stuff, and then there's sort of an operations course. But what's really cool about all of the Microsoft learning facilities that are available is as Andrew pointed out, all the information is available online, and it's my favorite price, with which is free. So if you have a little bit of spare time and maybe a little less sports to watch, you can sit on, or you can do it if you're good at multitasking. You can do it while you're watching sports, as I've done, and you can kill two birds with one stone by watching your favorite hockey team or football team play, and actually learn something on the side. It's how I've been able to go through a number of courses, and this course in particular kind of stood out as being something that I was doing every single day in my career and in my contracts for the various clients with you, Andrew, and of course on the side. So it was very topical for my experience. So it was great to go through it and glean new information that I may not have known. Like you said, I could easily have gone onto docs.microsoft.com and looked certain things up if I needed to, but to actually learn it in that encapsulated course material was absolutely amazing, and I enjoyed it quite thoroughly. Andrew's just kind of going through the skills matrix, and that's also included on any of these sites. Is Microsoft provides the skills outline that you can go through, and you can kind of check off all the different things. And of course, those are there in the learning modules, but then that just kind of reinforces what they're looking to question you on in your exam.
Exactly right. And one of the great things is they always publish PDF with every certification.
Mm-hmm.
And it breaks down, of course, we can see kind of the high level, implement identity and management solution, implement an authentication and access management solution, implement access management for apps, and plan and implement an identity governance strategy. So these are pretty heavy hitting categories. There's lots of information.
They're very broad, but they also give you the weightings. So if there's an area in the exam that you may not be as proficient at, but it has a higher weighting, you kind of know that that's where you need to focus, which is really cool. They give you all the tools necessary is the point I'm trying to get to. So it's really an awesome service from Microsoft.
Absolutely right. And one of the things I love about the breakdown is it gets down to those detail levels where you have to focus on things. And one of the interesting things is a lot of people I know in IT that do training also recommend that when you go through these, one of the best ways to acquire new knowledge in one of these certification areas, let's say you've never worked with ADFS or MCAS and you're not really sure about how to discover apps with it. Just take this, use your favorite search engine, Bing, of course, and go out, look for the Microsoft Doc article that, and I kid you not, will very, very close to exact match this title, and go and read that. You might even have a series of docs that are linked together, of course, because as you know, when you read those Microsoft Learn documents, quite often at the bottom they have next steps or next steps in your knowledge journey is really how I kind of think of that, because then you follow those links and you can really read quite a lot of material. And I've noticed in the last few months that those have started to also have links for Microsoft Learn courses as well. Yep. So there might be something that's kind of crossing over different exams, as it often happens with IT certifications. We'll have to know something. For example, on-prem Active Directory, Windows Server, ADDS. We might use that as a base knowledge in 2 or 3 different exam areas, just lightly, right? But we'll have to have kind of a foundational knowledge in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And these exams, the SC exams, it was interesting. I was reading another article, and the questions that were being put forward was, are these exams replacing, for instance, AZ 500? We're Canadian, sorry, and MS 500? And the answer at the time and current answer is no, they're not. So these exams aren't necessarily as I don't want to say as thorough, because I can tell you from experience, I spent the full 90 minutes writing this exam in order to pass it, and it was very, very detailed. But again, you've kind of got the broader focused range on just the Azure side and just the MS side of it, whereas this kind of steps it back a bit and has a wider track, if you will.
Absolutely, yeah. And some of these haven't really dialed in. And that's
Hmm.
part of the process I found as certifications mature and
Yes.
evolve, right? So don't forget, of course, on the Azure administrator side, we started with 103, now
Yeah.
it's 104. It might be a little different in 2 or 3 years from now as everything evolves, right? And that was kind of part of the point of, I believe it was last year when Microsoft Worldwide Learning announced that they were changing to annual recertification, which, by the way, you pay maybe for your free or for your first certification, but your recertification is actually done by
Yeah.
linking your account through Microsoft Learn. You
Yeah.
take like a 30 or 60-minute little, I call it a tour, but it's not really, it's a course.
Yeah.
Um, and then you take like 10 or 20 questions to recertify
Hmm.
because things change. And especially in Azure and cloud space with Microsoft, right? It's constant evolution.
Absolutely, absolutely. So this is kind of the best spot where you find all things for any cert, which is on the learning. You find the cert you want. As Andrew pointed out, you can look at the certification posters that are available. You know, the learning paths, and design one for yourself. And then, you know, to kind of bring it next is kind of, well, you're ready. You want to write the exam. Here's a hot tip. You can attend Microsoft events such as Ignite. At Ignite, there is learning opportunities that you can sign up for, and if you complete those learning opportunities, usually you end up getting another free exam. So you know, just for spending a few hours of your time at something like Microsoft Ignite, or a different learning session, you can get into to write these exams for absolutely free. And as I've said to Andrew many times in the last half an hour, and since I've known him, free is my favorite price. So the bonus thing is, this exam, the effort in studying was, approximately 8 hours to go through the material, some practice exams, some additional studying on the side, and then of course the 90 minutes for the exam itself, the proctored exam itself here at home, which was absolutely free. So all in investment is 20, 30 hours worth of your time, and you get this wonderful certification, which was just an amazing journey to go through and to learn new things that I didn't really know, and to refresh my skills on things that had changed. So it was really,
Right.
really great
Yeah,
course.
isn't that awesome? It's one of my favorite things is we may work with these technologies on a daily basis, but sometimes it's a bit repetitive, sometimes it's a bit limited scope. And one of the cool things about the exams, and especially through the studying, is for myself, I know I quite often pick up a new area of knowledge, right? So it's
Absolutely.
a little detailed tidbit, and gosh, I can't even tell you the number of times that that little tidbit piece of knowledge ends up playing out like not even maybe 1 or 2 quarters later. It'll be, wow, now I'm seeing this actually in a live environment. Good thing I did my foundational studying and learned about this because yeah, this is a really important piece of the whole puzzle, right?
Absolutely. And I'd been doing some work for a client and had been setting up, one of the things that this course covers is access reviews. And, I'd known at that point in time just how powerful something like an access review in Azure Active Directory was. But to actually, understand the concepts behind it and then put it into motion in, sort of the full capacity and capabilities that access reviews have, as is always the case in technology. You're lucky if you use 10% or of the features, but this opened my eyes up to sort of the other 85% of what was possible, and was immediately able to implement that at a client site, and make some huge differences. So
Well,
very
that's
worth
awesome.
very
Yeah,
worthwhile.
identity and access reviews are really cool. And I just also want to say that's a really important part of your Azure Active Directory cloud governance strategy.
Absolutely.
It's a very delicate piece sometimes, but it's important because why? We can automate that as well, right?
Absolutely, and that's what I was looking to do. So, and now it's working tickety boo. So that's the SC 300 exam in a nutshell.
Awesome. So
Yeah.
Thanks very much, Ryan. Really appreciate that. And there's so many more certifications out there. I can't wait until next week. Maybe we're going to have maybe a little bit of a news update around announcements coming out of Ignite. I think that would be really awesome.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
where can we find you in all of your wholesome goodness?
Yeah, you can find me online at Microsoft Cloud Quick Fix, with the exception of Twitter. I put that into an acronym, outside mscqf. I'm on YouTube, LinkedIn, SoundCloud, and the blog is at www.mscqf.com. And Andrew, where can we find you?
Awesome. So you can find me everywhere at AzureTracks, and definitely at www.azuretracks.com. Check it out. Lots of articles on both our sites, lots of content there. Really good learning. And don't forget, thank you so much for joining in, and we'll see you guys again next week. Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you, Andrew. Take care.